Hi. Okay, today I would like to talk to you about a few little tools, mostly needles. You have seen me with my Knitter's Pride. These are cube, they're square. They're not round, which are lovely, lovely needles. And they come from Knitter's Pride. I bought these at Knitter's Pride. They come in a small set, which starts at size 6 and then works its way up to size 11. They're square, which is really nice for anybody that has arthritis. They're easier to hold. They don't roll. They pretty much stay put. And then I also have just a few extra little ones in bigger sizes. These are round ones. They're from Knitter's Pride. If you could look at knitterspride.com, you can find all kind of needles at knitterspride.com. They come in a really nice little carrying case, and then they also come with extra cables for you to knit and a little information package of how to go ahead and use them. We're kind of done with our hats, so I'm just going to wrap these up for now and put them in here. I will use them again because these are one of my favorite needles. I have several, but this is a really nice set. It's great for anybody that has, again, hand issues, arthritis. If you are an old knitter, you remember the dreaded straights. These are Takumi Clovers. They're lovely needles, absolutely lovely. If you're on a budget, there's some of the nicest needles for budget, and I have lots of Clover. I have like about 5 different sizes depending on what I'm making, and I don't use these very often to knit with, but I do have what they call a wallaby sweater that I've made for grandkids, myself, my husband, kids, and it has a pocket in the front that you can put your hands in, and you really can't make that. At least I haven't figured out, because even if you use cables, when you cast on the pocket, it's too tight. So you actually have, it's really helpful to have a few sets of these straight needles to work with. So I suggest that when you're looking at something like that, have at least one size. I have the size 8, and they're really nice. You can get some rosebud straight needles, which are beautiful rosewood color, and they're beautiful. The other needles I want to talk to you about, if you're on a budget, please don't feel bad about buying cheap needles. They're a great way to get started. These are Takumi Clovers again, and it's bamboo. This is a size 8, and this is a perfect size for making hats if you don't want to use the long cords that we used in our last lesson. But they're relatively inexpensive, and if you just need one size that you're going to use a lot of, for example, size 6 and size 8 are really popular with making hats and sweaters and things. You can get away with having just a couple pair for a long time before you really get into having other needles. So that's another choice. Please don't feel bad. If you're on a budget or you're just trying out knitting and you don't want to spend a lot of money, go for the Clover. Clover is a really nice brand. A couple other things that I keep in my toolkit. I keep regular crochet hooks. I have just about all the sizes, but I just pulled this one out to show you. It's nice if you drop a stitch. They're real easy to use to pull your stitches back up. Also, if you're working with lace yarn, these are steel crochet hooks, and they are for using the threads, the smaller threads if you're crocheting threads. But this also is nice if you're knitting with something lace work. It'll help pull the threads back without stretching it out like the regular crochet hooks will. So these are nice. I have all sizes of these. The other thing that I made, which is really fun, we used to do beading in some of my classes that I've taught in person. is this is a stitch counter, and I will leave it out so that I can remind myself to show you how to use it. But all it is, we ordered some number beads, and then we have some size 8 beads in between, and then we have jump rings, and these jump rings are closed jump rings so that they don't catch. And then I also made a little charm so that you can use this up to 100 rows. So you start with 1, 2, and you put your needle. You actually put your needle through here, and as you go along, get to the next one, you put into the 2, and then into the 3, 4, and so on. But then as you get to like 10, 12, 20, for example, if I have 30, I will, and for me, I like to put it before the number, and sometimes I'll get confused and I'll put it after, but you just have to remember where you're putting it. I will put it on the 3 to tell me that I've finished 2 and I'm on the 3rd row, and then I will use my needle. That'll be 31, 32, 33, 34. So this is kind of a neat little thing. I saw it on one of the knitting places, and they were fairly expensive. I think they're $25 to buy them. But to make it, I had a lot of these little things like the charms and these things. So all I had to do was buy the numbers, and it might have cost me all total, even with the things I had, if you factor that in, might have cost me like $6, $7 to make it. So if you're into beading, this is something really fun to make for yourself. So I'm going to leave that for some of our other lessons. Okay, we'll talk about that later. One of the other tools that I really like are these very thin markers. And you can see they're extremely thin. They don't get in the way, especially if you're using lace. They open like a pin almost, but they don't have that catch down here that would get stuck in your work, your lace, especially lace. These are nice, but they come in several colors. So if you're working with a pattern and you need to have several different ways of choosing how you're going to knit your work, they come in colors so that you can mix and match them. But these are really nice, and I think I just got them at Amazon. They're super inexpensive. The other ones that I have, besides the Knitter's Pride that I use quite a bit, I also have a couple sets from KnitPicks, and this is a darker set. And as you get into knitting more and more and more, you'll find that you like colored ones. And if I'm using a light color yarn, I don't mind using these. These are also cubics. They're cubed. Let me get a bigger one out so that you can see a little bit better. There we go. It's cubed. So these are very nice for, again, arthritic hands. They don't roll, and unless you push them like I just did. But in your hand, they're really nice to work with. When you buy a set from KnitPicks, they come with everything you need. They come with cables, they come with stoppers, and they come with the little metal things that help you to tighten these. So this is a nice set, but then also I like to work with dark yarns once in a while too. And so I have bought the Sunstroke, I can't remember what these are called. They're quite an old one, but they do have light ones. And so when you're using darker needles, sometimes it's nice to have, you can get lost with the darker needles on darker thread. So sometimes it's nice to have a lighter colored needle. And these are round, so they will roll, and they're a little bit harder for my hands when I have arthritis flaring up. But they also come with all the cables that you need. Now I've bought some extra cables because I can put them together. I can take 2 sizes of cable. I have a cable connector, and I can put 2 sizes of cables. I made a great big shawl one time for myself, and I had to connect it. Here you go. These are the connectors. You put one side of your cable in here for one size, and then you put another size over here, and then you connect them to your needles. So these are just nice little tools to have. There's all kind of little things that come with your needles that can kind of keep you going. Some of these, I think this comes in a size 4 to a size 10.5. So I bought, it might go up to the 11. I did buy the 10 3/4 because there were projects that I was using the 10 3/4 to make. So I did buy that separately. You can buy these in sets, you can buy them separately. And then I really like this, so I went ahead and bought this to keep this one in. But this is just as well. If you're on a budget and you buy a set, you can just leave them in the plastic sleeves that they come in. Okay. Some of the other ones that I have are, I have quite a few of the Clover, and I have them in sizes, and there's some of the, but I also like these. These are from Knitter's Pride, and there are different kinds that you can buy. I do like these ones. These ones don't stick. I did buy some of these wooden ones. They're not wood, they're fake wood, but they catch on my threads, especially when I'm doing lace or lace socks. So I don't like those as much, but I do like the Knitter's Pride. Knitter's Pride has a really nice selection. You can see I have quite a few of them, and I have some projects going. Here's a Knitter's Pride. There's some KnitPicks. These ones I bought by themselves, and these are called shorts. Shorts are really nice, especially if you're getting into something that requires you to not use a long needle. And you can see they are very small compared to a regular, even the Clovers are so much bigger than these. So these shorts, they come in handy. And there are certain things that you will really like to have some shorts with. And I have several of the shorts, different styles, different colors, different sizes, depending on what I've been making. And then the other thing, if you're going to do cables, for example, we're going to start working on a cable hat. I have several sets. This is one set. This came from Knitter's Pride. These are called cable needles, and with these ones, I don't know if you can see it, but there are ridges that are built into this to kind of, when you're holding a cable, it'll hang on to your yarn so that it doesn't slip off. Now there are 3 different sizes, so bigger yarn down to a smaller lace yarn. The other ones that I like are these. I do not like metal for doing cables. They're too slippery, and I've lost too many, so I just gave them up. I don't even know what I did with them. But the other ones that I have, these are Brittany's, and you can see they're very thick on one edge, on both edges actually. You have your needle, but then it gets thicker, and then it gets smaller, a dip in the middle to hold your yarn so that it doesn't fall off. And again, it comes in 3 different sizes. These are very handy if you're doing cables like this, so you might want to look into getting yourself some of these. Okay, the other needles that we have are this is a Tunisian crochet hook, and it's okay. I don't really like Tunisian crochet. I used to keep my needles in here, in these, and you can get these from KnitPicks. But then I found this, it's for colors actually. And so I started putting my straights. These are for making socks if you're going to use them. I have different ones. I have Knitter's Pride. I have different sizes depending on if I'm using lace or sock weight, and I also have some Clover. I am not snippy about any kind of needle. If you like to use, and when I make socks, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would generally use 5 5 needles. And these were my favorite for a long time until I got used to just using the one, like we did with our hat. It's longer than this, and you use it in a circle. You can make socks on those, but I really like these. These are square also. They are called cubics, and they come in 5 needles at a time, and some people use 4 at a time. I like 5. I have 4 on my socks, and then I knit with 1, so they're always rotating. But I have 2 sets of these because I love them so much, and I would have two, sometimes 3 pair of socks going at a time. So those are really actually excellent if you're into sock making. You can see I have several, and these are the Takumi Clovers. They're very, very easy, very usable. So you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can buy 1 set at a time as you need them. Oh, let me put this back here. And just keep adding to your stash as you need things. I have other tools, and we'll do other videos to show you some of the nice little tools that will help with your knitting. Get you through anything that you need to know what you're doing. But the one thing I would suggest is try and find a size 8. You'll need a size 6 and a size 8 circular, and you can get the long ones because we do know how to work on magic needles. You don't have to have a size 8. These are 16 inches long, and they're perfect if you're just making a hat. But I suggest you get the longer ones because then you can make all kinds of things with them. And then I would suggest going ahead and getting the cable needles, the small cable needles that I showed you, because you'll need those to do this. Now, if you have double point needles like I showed you for when I would make socks, these, if you have a set of these already, you can use these as cable needles. They're just a little bit long and they're a little bit cumbersome, but they are useful. You can use these if you want to use these instead of the short cable needles. It's a personal choice, actually. Some people really like to use just the double points when they're doing cables. I like the smaller ones. Then I kind of can handle them a little bit better. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this will be helpful for you. If you'd like to make one of these, you can find these at a lot of bead stores, the numbers. Size 8s you can find at any Joann's, Michael's. The closed rings you can find at Joann's or Michael's, and then you need some straight pins, straight, you know, I can't remember what we called these. It's been about 4 years since we've done any kind of jewelry beading. And you'll need some kind of a clasp. But they're very easy to make, very fun to make. And yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this is going to be helpful for you as we get into our knitting. And the next project, I did this because the next project we want to do is this cable hat. And I will have the pattern. It's a free pattern if you go to Tin Can Knits. It's called the Antler Toque. It's a free one. She has several that are free, and then she has some that are for sale. So Tin Can Knits, go ahead, download this free pattern from her, and then I will teach you how to read the pattern, how to get started on it, and how we will learn how to do cables next. So, okay, I hope this has been helpful. I'm really enjoying doing knitting classes again. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time when we start this hat. Bye-bye.